Hey guys, what's up and welcome to another episode of TheGoodCastShow. So Selamat Hari Raya to all of you and Selamat Bercuti to all Malaysians. Hope wishing you all an amazing holiday. But we are not holidaying, we are here interviewing, and I have such a controversial guest with me today. He was a guest on the podcast just 4 months ago, but since then, he's become one of the loudest voices in Malaysia's political scene. He's also now an author. He authored his latest book, which I must say has an awesome title, The War Against Indians. It's Suthan Mookaiah. Please welcome. Suthan, how are you, man?
I'm good, thank you. Looks like you're setting me up from the front.
From the front, yes. So, by the way, congrats on the book. I heard it's a bestseller, and you gave me a copy. I will read it, and then we will do our next interview on this.
Sure.
A few more months, lah. Let's wait for things to calm down. So, Suthan, as I said, you were here 4 months ago,
Yeah.
and that was a very different Suthan. That was a bit more composed and calm. So then, since then, you've become a loud voice in Malaysia's politics. I think even members of PH, especially the Indian leaders, are now replying to you directly to your videos. It's become such an important factor in Malaysia's politics. So why do you think in those 4 months you managed to grow this reputation so quickly?
I think because of what I'm bringing up on social media. And I'm basically just bringing up people's conversation that you and I have, right? Conversation that Malaysians have. So what we speak in our living rooms with our family, what we speak with our friends in mamas, those are the kind of conversation that I bring to social media very candidly, very openly, very factually. But obviously, those kind of topics resonates very well with people, but also probably goes deep into the hearts of the current leaders.
Okay.
And I think that is why they tend to come after me first, because I think they believe censoring me is a much more easier choice than actually addressing the real issue, which is the solution that we're asking for.
Fair enough. That's very true. But now that you have built this persona in politics, what's next for you, man? Where does all this lead to?
I'm still where I am right now. We are still engaging. We are still building up. Obviously, the election is very, very far away. But at this point right now, I want to build myself up as a voice for the Indian Makkalsa. That's where I'm going at right now. We want to also bring up our party, MIPP, right? As a party that speaks up unapologetically for the Indian market. Right, so that's what we're currently doing. We are bringing up the party, and obviously we're also showcasing that Perikatan Nasional as a whole is a party or a bloc that is now much more accommodative of the Indian agenda. So that's where we are right now.
In this 4 months, like I said, you've become a very prominent speaker in Malaysia's political landscape. You've become, I think, the loudest Indian voice, if not among the loudest voices in the PN bloc. But and of course, you have grown in popularity, you have grown in significance, and in our conversations outside this podcast, you do tell me a lot of things which I'm not going to share here. But what have you learned so far in politics in these 4 months? What's been the greatest lessons?
Number one is that the politics can be quite brutal. Sometimes you really want to speak about certain issues, but it is not the right time. It's not the right momentum. Or it's not the right situation to speak on. So that sometimes for people like me, it keeps me a little bit aggregated because I can't really bring up certain issues until that certain circumstances comes in. That's number one. Number two is of course that politics in Malaysia is also you against the tide and you having to face the backlash. As you know, I am currently facing a lot of backlash and censure from the government at large, right? Because of the things that I speak, and that makes you think, is this what it's all about? Right? But I guess if you want to bring change, if you want to speak about change, then this is all part of the game.
Yeah, it is. And so your TikTok account is still not banned yet, I see.
I believe so. For now, we have that.
Yeah. I think yesterday I saw another guy, Naim Brundage, I think his name. And this is his 9th account that he has made on TikTok because of people have banned him. That's crazy.
I hope I don't go there.
Now, of course, like I said many times in this interview, you are a loud voice in the PN bloc. You are part of MIPP. Despite your loud voice, how loud is MIPP's voice in the PN bloc now?
I think you must understand, as the head of information, I am the face for the party, right? MIPP is also very, very loud in the essence that we are we are basically building other things as well. So obviously you need somebody to speak the front, but you also need somebody to go to the ground. You also need to have some operators who work behind the scenes. So this is a team effort, and this team effort cannot be done by a one-man show. So that's what MIPP is all about. We have different operative, I can say, right? So they put the pretty face in the front, like me.
Self-praise is praise, as I always say.
And then they have the bright ones, right, who are leading the charge behind the scene. And they also have those who are very grassroots-centric to lead the charge with the people.
Okay.
So we have that combined, and that's why we are basically able to do all the things that we are doing. We might be small, brother, but we are kecil-kecil cili padi.
But as you say, you call yourself the face of the party. Shouldn't the face of your party be your president?
Of course, he is. I believe that the fact that I'm popular today, the fact that I'm representing so well on social media, is also because of him as well, right? Because of my party president, because of my Timbalan president, and obviously the entire CWC. We must understand, for somebody like me, who pretty much junior in the political scene, can suddenly rise so prominently in the in political scene, it must be because we have strong leadership. Strong leadership that is not afraid to basically allow new young leaders to come up. And I don't just speak about myself. I can say that, for example, Kuning recently, we have started to bring our missionaries out there. Again, Punintan was not the face for the particular election. He actually put in our Pera head, who is about 36 or 37 years old, to speak on the stage. And also our youth head as well, Justin, Satya and Justin, to speak on the stage. So that shows that we have strong young leadership who are able to put young leaders up front. And I think that's something fresh for the Indian political scene.
Fair enough, and I agree with that, because I think Muda, for example, is one good example of a party that doesn't have many faces. It only has one face, and now that face is slowly going away, they don't have a face to represent the party, right? But do you think that perhaps your president should be more out there? Because what he's doing is commendable. He's creating many faces to represent MIPP, but if he is not out there strong enough, that doesn't lend credibility to the other faces of the party that are coming up.
You can say, you can have such an opinion, and I think that's valid, right? But obviously, I think people have different strategies, right? People have different strategies. In the case of probably our president, he thinks that bringing up young leaders is much more important than him taking up all the limelight. And probably the election is still very far away. The G is still very far away. So there's still a lot of time before or when he needs to come up and get on the podium and go all out. I think until then, it's best to give this stage for right now to young leaders who have no presence before this to come up, so that when the time is right, there is a strong team behind him to back the entire party.
When we first spoke, I think at that time MIPP was just young. It just started, right? It is still young, but I think now it has taken root already.
We are just 4 months older.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why. Even yesterday when I was preparing for the interview, I was thinking, why does it feel like I spoke to you a year, 2 years ago, right? So many things. But I think MIPP has, it's enough time for it to take root and really form itself, right? To create a form. What is MIPP's aim to achieve? I mean, what does it aim to achieve as a political party now?
We really want to unapologetically, right, voice out for the Indian community. I think it's very, very important and very crucial at this point to have that one true champion for the Indian community. We don't have that anymore. Let me tell you the impact of we not having that. In the case of the recent temple issue, the fact that we don't have a strong voice, or we don't have actually even representation in the cabinet, meant that there was no credibility, or our views was not actually brought into the cabinet, and the national leaders did not know what was our grouses, right? Because of that vacuum, we did not get what we supposed to have. I'm not saying we didn't get a fair deal. I'm just saying it could have worked out better even before this issue became that explosive. So I'm saying that if we have true representation in supreme parties, in the cabinets and whatnot, we can basically champion the entire Indian community. We can do what is right, what is needed to bring ourselves up. So that is where I think we are looking to. We are looking to create the policies. We are looking to put the young leaders there. We are looking to advocate for fairer deals for the Indian community. And with this all, hopefully, we can bring and move the Indian community forward.
But that doesn't explain one thing, Suthan, is that when it was mooted by DAP that you should have a minister for non-Muslim matters in Parliament, this suggestion was shot down by Tan Sri Muhyiddin very openly, critically, and MIPP again did not say anything about this. So shouldn't you all wasn't that the perfect chance for you to come up and say, look, we need a minister for non-Muslim affairs? As we have seen with the temple issue, there are many issues with the non-Muslim community that we need to settle. Why didn't you voice out anything then?
First of all, I think I need to voice out for DAP because DAP itself is getting suppressed right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Yeah, we know that. Yeah.
Ram Kapal won Pinang CM. Pinang leadership is not going to be the Pinang CM. Gobind Singh Dio won the national leadership. He's not the SecGen. I think MIPP first have to speak up for DAP first. And then we have to go to the next point, which is what you're speaking about. I think there's time and place for every single thing. It is time to speak rightfully. And I think, again, they are not coming up with the right agendas or the right policies. And probably that's what is being worked on technically. We do have discussions among ourselves to basically bring up the Indian agenda. And I know things are in place to basically build this up. Especially with this issue, there was more learning by the national leaders about what is actually needed, what is basically the vacuum, and what is currently lacking. With the temple issues, for example, we learned that gazettement is not being done to the right process. It is not done in a specific time frame, and also there is also many other underlying issues as well. So now the national leaders know about it, but that they knew about it right now only because of what has happened. Previously, no national leaders, both sides, both government and opposition, knew what was the issue with the temple issues. Not just temple for Indians, temple for Christians, for Tokung for Chinese and whatnot. Like all the kawasan tapak, rumah ibadat for non-Muslims. But now they do. Now there is a lot of discussion heading that way. That we have to think about, look whether we are allocating the right amount of spaces for non-Muslim tapak. Right? So, like I told you just now, we need more advocacy on this. We need more education on this. Not just for the public, but for the leaders. And I think this is what is currently needed. Before we talk about, why people are shooting this down and why people are not doing this, we need to get that facts up there.
Okay, but fair enough. So, but now let me ask you, do you think that we should have a minister for non-Muslim affairs?
Of course, yes. We do.
Thank you.
I think that's a very simple answer.
I've been following your videos for a long time, okay, and we've known each other for a while now. One of the things about PN that I feel, especially from your side as well, is that perhaps maybe sometimes your content that you put out is very reactive, not proactive.
Okay.
For example, when it was announced by Prabhakaran that he was tasked, that apparently Mitra was tasked to submit Indian plans for RMK 13. To be included in the RMK 13, which is quite a monumental thing considering that the last 12, nothing much was said about India, but this is the first time. Why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you voice out like your own shadow proposals? Why don't you come up with all of that?
We do. We actually, so you must understand, we are sitting in the opposition, man, right? I do not actually have a seat or a power to basically say things out loud, right? I mean, or to basically give proposals. Do you really think if an opposition guy go in and say, look, this is our proposal, those people in government going to take our papers? No.
But it's a good show.
What we do though, we are much more proactive than that. We work with those guys in power, behind the scene, with MPs, with those people that you're even currently speaking about, to basically give our ideas there so they can formulate it into their papers.
Okay.
Because I think that is a much more, much more sensible thing to do. We don't want to just simply act or do wayang kulit like what the previous guys did in opposition. We really want to bring change. And we think as an opposition, we can play a better role by criticizing policies that is currently being done by government. We don't have to do shadow ones at this point because we are not government. I do really think it's important to just help those guys who in power, their policy papers, make it better, so when they submit it, it has more relevance and weightage.
So, which brings another interesting criticism to you.
Okay.
What do you say to people who call you as it's just talk and no action behind your talk? Especially recently, there's been a few videos. Thanks to your last video about throwing the cloth. Actually, what does that mean? Can we first answer? Because I also didn't get it. What does that mean?
Oh, throw the Kylie, is that?
What does that mean?
I mean, it's a very simple thing. I mean, when you retire, old people in the house, right, they'll be wearing Kylie. Retiring, watching TV, right?
Okay, I get it now.
So what I'm trying to say, go back home, retire, wear your Kylie, watch your TV shows. So that's where...
And then you got the blue sari and all that.
I got the blue sari and whatnot. But okay, let's
back to this,
be more factual, yeah. So what have I done? Okay, and you must understand. Again, I'm simple rakyat marhain, yeah, simple rakyat main. I don't have power. I don't have anything. But there I was in the actual LFL meetings. I was there. We did a press conference with other leaders, not just MIPP, with other leaders as well
on the Kavadi issue.
No. Recently. On the Zambi issues and whatnot, we did a press conference together. It was highlighted on paper.
Yeah.
We came out on paper and social medias, on medias as well, talking about our opinions. We were there with the people on ground in the temple, showing us our support. Right? I did about 4 to 5 videos, right? About this, about advocacy, about education, about asking people to stay calm during this, which was all taken down by all the government agencies, right? And then these people have the cheek to ask, what am I doing? Now, let me ask you again. You are sitting in DBKL. You are sitting in government. Come on.
Yeah.
You are sitting smugly and asking me, what am I doing? Brother, let me ask you back. What did you do?
Okay.
Right? What did you do? What did he do?
Yeah.
It's just funny. Because when you are in power, you are supposed to be doing things. Right? You are supposed to be doing... Come on, don't be like a guy who just woke up from a coma. Guys, you are sitting in power. Do something. It's not just I'm criticizing you. The entire community is criticizing you because you're not doing something. Come on, lah.
You know what's funny? I think I've told you, but that guy who said that is coming on this podcast. I think about maybe a few hours time. So let's get you out of here.
You're good.
Before he comes.
Come on, we don't have riots in your place, man.
Yeah, exactly. Causing rift between parties. Okay. Again, when it comes to MIPP, yes, you mentioned there are different people, young leaders who are speaking on stage and all that. But Suthan, you are the loudest voice. You are the face now, right? Is it a concern for you sometimes that perhaps you feel that when there are issues, you're the only one championing those issues, and there's not really many people behind? I'm saying not in reality, but the perception of the people watching your videos and knowing that you're part of MIPP may think that. Are you not concerned about that?
Again, I think it's probably because of the prominence that I have on social media. It looks like I'm the only one speaking, right? But there is many more. You must understand, social media is not the only place that we are in, right? People are also living out there offline.
Yes.
So we have leaders in different places who are championing these issues. We also have people, we also speaking in policy level. Right, I told you that right now we are in PN Supreme meetings, we are in leadership meetings, we are there giving our voices. So like I told you, in different places. But now coming back to social media, you must say, so then it looks like you're the only one bringing on social media, and probably you're right, because we are a very small party, and that is why we are basically ramping up our membership drives. We are getting in more young leaderships to come in, and we are basically creating new state level
divisions
committees and divisions.
Yeah.
Right? We have done that in Pinang, we have done that in Melaka, we have done that in Negeri Sembilan, Pahang, and even recently Perak as well. So as you probably another four more months down the road, you might call me up again and say, Suthan, now you guys have looked much more wider and bigger than what you are now.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It takes time to grow. I know. I understand. Look, I hope my next question doesn't cause any rift in the party, but let's go.
It looks like that though. Looks like you're being very cheeky today, brother.
Let's go. So, okay. of course, as I mentioned just now, Muda, for example, Syed Saddiq is the most prominent. PKR, same. Anwar is the loudest. He is the man, right? But in MIPP, you are the head of communications and not the president.
You are not going to let that point go away, yeah? It doesn't look like that.
It doesn't. I'm causing trouble here. I'm being very batu-api today. Now, so could it be seen that perhaps, are you concerned that perhaps people may take it as you wanting to overshadow the leadership in your party?
Oh man, this is not the case. It's not the case. I think I play.
Punithan, I apologize. Simply asking this question.
That's not the case. I think I'm very empowered in my role, and that's why you can see that I'm shining very well in my role right now. Again, when you put the right talents at the right places, you will see young leaders coming up. Okay. And I think we have to give it to Punithan because he had the foresight and also the confidence in putting people where they need to be. So no, I have very good respect for my brother Punithan. He's not just president of the party; he's also a good friend.
Yeah.
And I believe we are at this stage in our time right now where it feels more like a group of friends who are leading the charge to change the community.
That's true.
So we don't have such riff. We don't have such iriati. We are working and we're going all out.
Well done. No, I do see the party is growing definitely, and since like I said, it only took 4 months. So God knows what's going to happen the next 1 year. Now, speaking of that, your leadership and all that, in the recent temple issues, you made many videos about it. I think some of them were even taken down, if I'm not mistaken.
All of it.
All of it. So you're just one video away from being banned. There we go. We can't wait. Please let me know when it happens. Now, you were at the press conferences as well, were organized by MIC and all that. But none of your party leadership were. What does that tell us?
But that's not true as well. So here's the thing. We were there. Again, probably because my face is very, very familiar. So everybody just looked at me. I had our Biro Agama was there. Our Biro Social was there. Our state leaders was there. Even Punithan was there as well. But not obviously for the MIC event, but we were there before and after. In fact, the temple committees were speaking to us on behalf of PN. So, like I told you just now, the face of MIPP might be me, but there is so many other people who are also working behind the scene, in the grassroots, and whatnot.
Fair enough. And I think
sorry.
That'll be my last question. I don't know what happened. I woke up on the different side of the bed.
Today you're playing my role, man.
Yes, I am. Now let's move on to the Pinang state elections. Of course, PN had mentioned recently that they want to shift the focus to Indian voters because they are not confident of getting the Chinese votes. Obviously, Chinese votes generally go to DAP. And of course, that announcement sort of shift the focus to MIPP as the Indian component party. So do you think that MIPP is capable enough or mature enough as a party to lead the Penang state elections?
Yeah, absolutely. Not just in Penang, in Air Kuning, any other state elections, bring in Melaka, Sabah, whatnot. We are game on. Look, I do believe that that MIPP has the potential to rise up to become the new voice for the Indian community. We don't have that, and today we really need that. Even for example, we're speaking about DAP. Like I told you just now, even their leaders need us to speak up for them, right? And for example, for PKR, we have to be the one who have to put the fire under their bottoms to get them to do their work. So it shows that where we are right now and what we are doing is very much needed and very much asked for by the community. Can MIPP lead in Penang? Obviously, why not? We need to have the confidence to say that Indians can also be a leader, not just a simple follower for decades. We have the talents. Our Penang division, right, is led by professionals, by a team of professionals. There are doctors, there is engineers, there is businessmen who have much talent and a lot of experience to bring to Penang. Yes, we can.
Recently, of course, there was an article that showcased, it was a video, I think, that was shared on social media where it showed Tun Mahathir, Punithan was there as well, Dato Sri Hamzah, and as well Professor Ramasamy from Urumai. If Prof Ramasamy is already now talking with the leadership of PN, is Urume going to be part of the coalition as well?
Now we have to go back to what we spoke about last time. You asked me, how come you are not allowing Urume to come in? But today you see 4 months down the road.
No.
Right?
No.
Right,
So
right,
I didn't say you didn't allow. I say why you didn't voice out when they were opposed.
But we did. Like I told you, right? When the right time comes, when the right places comes, discussions will happen and whatnot. Again, Urume is still not in yet. But you can see that we are giving space for Urume to grow. We are giving space for Urume to be champion in the places that they want to be in, and we are giving them space to also voice out. Like I say, Indian leadership does not have to be just MIPP. It can be all of us, and only when we unite as one, we have the credibility to basically bring the Indian agenda up front. So that's what we are currently doing. We are still a long way to go before the election. And a lot more things have to happen. But as you can see, things are brewing, things are formulating, and more things will happen down the line.
Before I get to my next question, let's go back to KKB. That was the by-elections that happened when we first spoke. Okay. And of course, at that time, Punithan had come up with a lot of statements in the news stating that he was confident that about 40% of the Indian votes would go swing to PN at that time. That didn't happen. In fact, an additional 10% extra went to PH, right? Do you think MIPP is viewed as a potential party to represent the Indians now?
I think you're quoting numbers from government's think tank.
Not yours.
Not ours, right? Okay. Not ours, not the neutral ones.
Okay.
So I do believe we had a good shift. We just lost by a small margin in KKB. We won. We changed Sungai Bakap, right? We are going into, obviously after that, we went into the heartlands of the government centers. In fact, Air Kuning is also one. But today, you tell me, do you really think Indians are still standing up with the government, especially with the Madani government?
No.
I don't think so.
I think there's a decline, definitely.
There is a huge betrayal by the government. What is spoke back then, anak kami, anak whatnot, everything is down the drain.
India, China, Bidayu.
Down the drain. Right, down the drain.
Yeah.
We saw the real faces of these people. We saw the real faces of the leadership. We saw the what we call the huge disquiet of the entire Indian leaders. Why were they quiet? They have elections coming up. So they are quiet because they are scared they cannot pancung in the election. But isn't that embarrassing? Just because of your seat, because you need a seat, you need a salary, you are willing to be quiet on things that you have to speak up for the Indian community. When we need you to speak up at crucial times, you are not willing to. So we saw that. We understood that. And I think that's going to translate soon in our conference for the government, in our votes for the government. That's not going to happen for them.
Now, of course, the Air Kuning by-elections are coming up. But the Air Kuning by-elections, the thing is because it would most likely be a fight between BN and Paslan. Right? Definitely that'll be the fight because majority is Malay there. But I want to focus on the Penang state elections first because that's the key one, right? That is the one that I think is a huge potential for MIPP to perhaps even secure seats. Are you going to run?
Am I going to run? I've seen the comments.
Why don't you run?
Like I told you, I'm an operator.
Come on, man.
Whose first work is to bring out the ideas. Whether I run or I don't run is basically the work of my party and the bloc itself.
Would you like to though? Just say it here.
No. I think the real leaders of the local community should stand in Pinang.
Okay, then seriously though, on a serious note, what would MIPP need to do now, in your opinion, in preparation for the Penang state elections to secure the Indian vote there, or at least a sizable portion of it?
I think first we need to build, like you say, the divisions, the state divisions and whatnot. We have to basically ramp up our membership in Penang State, which we are currently doing, and the local team is doing very well. Next is basically figuring out the agenda and the local issues that needs to be driven, not just for the Indian community, but also for the entire Penang.
Correct.
At large.
Yeah.
Right? Together with that, then we mobilize the team and the agenda together to create groundswell. We have time for that. And you're probably going to see that happening in the next couple of months down the road. And hopefully by the time we come to Penang, it's going to happen in maybe 1 or 2 years time, you're probably going to say, wow, I was one of the guys who spoke about this very early on.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and these things are changing.
Okay, so I wish you the best. I really hope MIPP does well in Penang, because it is a golden opportunity, lah. Penang, considering the state demographic.
It's a crazy. It's our, what do you call, our rocket to Mars, isn't it?
Yep, it is.
Right?
It is.
We have never seen an Indian leader running a state before. But has that been done before? Yes. There was back before pre-Malaya an Indian CM. Why can't we have an Indian CM now? Mind-boggling, but it's realistic. It's possible to happen if we all believe it and trust that process.
Could that be also, I mean, but shouldn't again, I know you made this, and this was one video that I didn't agree with you 100%, because I felt like, why should the race of a leader be important? Shouldn't it be their policies?
I look. We spoke about Indian leaders because we are coming from an Indian party. But what we are trying to say in essence, right? Anybody can come up in Penang, because that's what the constitution says. It doesn't just say it can only be led or can only be led by Chinese. That's our contention here. If a strong leader comes up, if they win a majority support, anyone can win. At the particular point, Ram Kapal won the DAP state election.
Yeah.
And hence why we spoke about Indians helming it. Because we are saying Ram Kapal should helm it, not MIPP. Ram Kapal, who's sitting in government, should be helming it against us. So that was the context of that. But again, if anyone else won majority, by merit, they should be on coming up.
Okay, but don't you think you are sort of shooting yourself in the foot? Because we have seen in previous by-elections the decline in Chinese voter turnout, right?
Okay.
I speak to some people on the ground, some Chinese people who are very upset with DAP. They say they're not doing anything. They're making things harder. Anthony Lok and all that. They don't like some of the policies, the changes initiated by MOT and all that. Considering Penang's demographic, right, between the races, the distribution between the races, shouldn't MIPP take this opportunity to also garner a mixed pool of voters or under your umbrella, under your banner to support you? But when you say things like, I want an Indian chief minister, don't you think that will alienate the huge Chinese population there in Penang?
That's the thing. That's a headline. And people get
People
riled
read
up. People
headlines.
get riled
People
up
write
with the
headlines.
headlines, right?
Yeah.
But when sensible people start to read into the context of what we are speaking, they start to understand what we are trying to come up with. I have a lot of Chinese friends, a lot of Chinese community who came up to me and said, Suthan, what you're saying is right. We need people who win by merit, people who win by leadership, right? To come up. It doesn't have to be Chinese, it doesn't have to be Indian, doesn't have to be, anyone can come up as long as they get majority. So that is what we are basically garnering. That's what we are basically getting to support our policies. So if you're reading into the headlines, I'm so sorry. That is not given by me. That's given by people like Vinod, who goes by headlines. I
Yes.
say. But I like to go into the context, the
Okay.
content. My content is anybody who wins should be allowed to go up.
Okay. So I before the last segment of this, which I want to talk about your book, because it's a very good book. I love the title. I think we had a very nice discussion with Mr. Manikam, who wrote the Malaysian Indian Dilemma the other day, who's also a big fan of the book. Well done to you, buddy.
Thank you.
Now, before we do that, one last question. So,
We are not done, yeah?
okay. So recently we've seen so far in total, 2 prominent MCA members
Okay.
move to Bersatu.
Okay.
And we've seen you do a podcast with a Bersatu member. Are you considering shifting?
No. I'm doing so you must understand, PN is gearing up for election.
Yeah.
Right? And obviously we are starting to work as a PN block. Right? I'm a leader in MIPP, and obviously my main guy is sitting in the podcast with me, Sanjeevan, is also main leader in Bersatu. We will be soon bringing in other leaders from Gerakan, from DHPP, and many other parties that is associated with PN. What we are currently looking to do is basically unite the Indian leadership to speak up. So it might look like Suthan is heading to Bersatu, but and that's basically the story on the ground, but that's not the case.
But if you're looking to unite the leadership, right, there are so many Indian parties out there that are sort of coalitionless, right? I think there's 15 Indian parties, if I'm not mistaken. The number, I was talking to someone from MIC who was telling me that number. So now that you guys, I can see that you're close to it, Urumei, is there any plans to realize what Punithan said early on when we were talking where he wanted all the Indian leaders to come under one umbrella. Is there any plans to bring them all together under one, under PN?
Obviously, that is still open, right? That offer is still open. We are calling every single Indian leaders, every single Indian parties to come here and speak with us. We are willing to voice with you. We are willing to stand with you. Come be part of the change that we are looking to bring through PN Block. Come, bring the change. If you all sit there and say that, we are not bringing the change, ridiculous. Our offer has been put up a year ago, and those who are willing to come up and speak to us, you can see that we are embracing them. So, come.
All right.
Contact us.
All right, so Suthan, thank you so much, man, for taking
action,
the call to action. There we go. Please drop us your message, and we will, connect with Suthan. But before we end this, of course, I want to talk about this. You are a politician. You're now an author as well. So the title is amazing, man. War Against Indians. I mean, this is definitely a page that you definitely see this book, okay? It's a superb title. What made you write this book, and why now? Why now write it?
I think we are at a crucial point where Indian voices have to basically speak up. We are getting marginalized and suppressed beyond what has happened in all these decades, right? Temple issue has been a wake up for many. So the book basically addresses that. So a lot of people do not have an understanding of the history or the impact of certain suppressions that has happened for Indians, and they think there is no impact for the next generation to come. The book basically addresses that, the history, the policies that suppressed us, the impact of all these policies, not just for the community, but also for directly into their families as well. And together in that, the book also gives us solutions, what they basically can do to basically change this. Now, people always be speaking about, ad hoc solutions. But in this book, I basically I initially kickstart a policy change ideas, right? That people can basically work on together. I hope more people read this book because it will help them understand what we need to do as a community to change to change us, especially as we gear ourselves towards the next election.
In your opinion, why is a war being waged against Indians?
It's actually a fight. Right? They always call it the fight against our dignity, the fight for our space, but this fight has been going on for decades. I can even say centuries. And that's why I call it a war, right? It's not because I'm trying to wage a real war. I'm just saying this is a war for our dignity. This is a war for our space and a war for our representation. So why has this been going on for many places? Because we have been timid all this while. Previously, we had a political party that represented Indians for many, many years. But they were horse trading seats for Indian votes. That's what happened. The opposition at the time were very timid as well because they were afraid to speak up against the big mammoth of the party. But today, everything else is now flat. We now have the time and opportunity to change all this. So we should.
Okay.
We should take the opportunity.
Now, I want to end this with this. I want to get on a positive note. How do we win this war?
We need to win this by obviously you need to have first great leaders who are probably like Lee Kuan Yew, who are very national, right? Nationalist.
Statesman.
Very statesman, right? Negarawan, right? I hope Anwar hears this. Negarawan, it's not right now.
You just had to put that in.
I'm just gonna.
Just had to put that in.
I just put it up. I didn't like the words he said.
Yeah.
So number 2, we need to have good policies for the Indians, because when people think that if you empower the weakest link, it's gonna create chaos. No, when you empower the weakest link, which are the Indians, it is gonna make a stronger community by large, right? The third, we need to have good capital. I give you an anecdote, right? An anecdote. Indians in Malaysia is like a kid who is neglected by the parent, all right, and is now being taken care by probably a contractual helper, a maid, who's on a 2 years or a 4 years contract, and
5 years,
5 years contract, a 5 years contract, who's probably given 1 ringgit per day to makan. That helper goes to the Kara Runcit, sees the one ringgit and say, hey, look, probably I cannot do anything much with it. I cannot buy a food. So probably I'm going to buy gula-gula. Right? She gets 3 sweets, 2 she takes. 1 is given out to the community. And that's basically what I can say where we are right now. The parent is our government. The ama is our Indian MPs, current Indian MPs, right? And we are the stupid, neglected kid. We have to change this. That's where we are going at.
I must say that is an amazing analogy and perfect way to end this interview. Thank you so much, Suthan. And I just want to say, honestly, I mean, we had a bit of fun in the interview, but I'm very proud to see your growth. I mean, as a friend, the first time you came on, and then now where you are, you've become a voice for the opposition bloc, and I won't be surprised if you're MP very soon, man. So I wish you the best, and can't wait to see you in Parliament.
You are still being Batupi until the very end. But thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Maybe president of a party. I don't know. Anyway, so. But thank you so much, man. Seriously, well done to you. So, guys, the book is War Against Indians. It's available now. We'll be sharing the links on where you can get the book. It's a fantastic book and really a catchy title and something I think all Indians should read. So, thank you, Suthan. All the best to you, buddy.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. We'll see you all soon. We have 2 PKR members coming up next. So, stay tuned for what they have to say. We'll see you. Bye.